It's now 11:01. I'll call the Surgery Water Board Pension Committee meeting to order. Special counsel, please call the roll.
Well, now we'll have our attorney calling the roll. Mary Beth Arsenault, would you please proceed? Mary Beth?
Good morning. Director Pacho,
Here,
Director Solis, Director Anthrop,
Here.
Director Kennedy,
Here.
Councilmember King, Ms. Shine,
Here.
Ms. Johnsey,
Here.
Mr. Makbul. Five members present, but we do not have a quorum.
okay, we don't have any action items.
We have no
Can we
action.
proceed?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Now we'll proceed with two presentation items. I think we have Kwaku Obed from Marquette and Associates on virtual. Am I correct?
Quaco?
Hello.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Hello, Kwaku. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, great. So yeah, good morning, everyone. And I do have a couple of things to go through, but first I'll begin with performance for the month of August. So I will share my screen,
Okay.
and I hope everyone is doing well, staying safe and dry. Given the hurricane last week, it sounds like everyone made out, relatively good,
Thank
which
you.
is a good thing to hear. Okay, great. So, really beginning with August, we have the market tracker for the month of August, and we take a look at performance for the market. August continued to be a pretty decent run for the market. The S&P 500 was up 2.4%. International markets were also positive. The ACWI ex-US up 2.8%, and then the EFI index up 3.3%. As we move to the middle of the page, definitely interesting to look at the year-to-date results in blue and then the month-to-date results in green. When we look at the month-to-date results in green, we do get a sense of, some of the volatility that we've seen in the market, particularly in small cap, where small cap, one of the more sensitive areas to interest rates and how the economy is doing, small cap had an exceptional prior month, up over 10% when we think about the returns for the prior month, the month of July. But in the month of August, we saw a lot of volatility, and that volatility was largely driven by the headwind of, where the economy ultimately could be heading. When we think about a slowdown and potential reset, small caps would be more sensitive to that, given the fact that small caps are typically more levered companies, and the ongoing health of the economy, could disproportionately hit a higher levered company. But year to date, small cap holding up really, really nicely. Core up 10.4%, growth up 11.7, and value up 9.1%. What we've continued to see in the markets has been the complete dominance of large cap. Large cap growth in particular up 21.1% year to date. The core index up 18.6, and then value up a very comfortable 15.1%. What we do see in the month to date results is, a little less dispersion across core value and growth. As we can see, year to date, value has been the laggard. However, value continues to go through a short-term resurgence. That short-term resurgence could be tied into, again, investors and the market paying a little bit more attention to the cash flows, balance sheets, the forecasts, earnings, and so on, placing a little bit more weight on those factors versus the growth factors that have been rewarded hand over fist for the last couple of years. And then mid cap, somewhere in the middle. Mid cap has held up pretty nicely. Year to date, you're looking at a 12.1% result for the core mid cap index. Fixed income, we see that the ag index comfortably in the positive through the end of August, up 3.1% year to date. For the month of August, up 1.4%. We've mentioned this at prior meetings, but we're actually probably at this point now where the Fed, could in fact lower interest rates. The Fed is meeting today and tomorrow. The market expectation is for an interest rate cut. The market consensus is for a 50 basis point cut, so that would be two cuts at this particular Fed meeting. We still have a little time in the next 24 hours to essentially digest, what could potentially happen. But right now, the market still is leaning towards an interest rate cut. Now, when we look at the yield curve at the middle of the page here, the yield curve does really point to a pretty steep inversion, particularly at the shorter end. So as we think about the shorter end of the curve and we think about rates coming down, that would lead to more of a normalization of the yield curve. So, more to come with respect to the yield curve, the shape of the yield curve, what it ultimately means for the economy. But right now, the yield curve and the shape that we're seeing in the yield curve still does indicate that we could be headed towards somewhat of an economic slowdown. The magnitude of the slowdown, if there is one, would really be determined by how quickly the Fed did or did not act around its decreasing of interest rates. But again, as we look at the shape of the yield curve presently, shape of the yield curve still does point to longer term rates being lower than shorter term rates, and that has typically resulted in a recession or a slowdown to normalize the yield curve. Okay, so with respect to our portfolio, we take a look at the performance, and performance continues to be exceptionally strong. When we think about absolute and relative performance, year to date through the end of August, up 11.1%. So definitely a strong beneficiary of the equity markets rallying and the fixed income markets rallying as well. The global equity, or I should say the global infrastructure composite, was additive to performance, whereas real estate was a relative detractor from a performance standpoint. But again, as we look at performance, definitely erring on the stronger side of things. And for all periods measured, we're looking at outperformance relative to the index. So definitely a nice trend to see. We represent the blue bar, just as a quick reminder, and then the gray bar represents the index that we're measured against. Performance across the various composites, we do see that fixed income has held up nicely relative to the benchmark, so up 4% versus 3.1% for the index. Real estate, as described earlier, was a relative detractor. Global infrastructure up 15.3%, and then the equity composite up 13.7%. As we look at the various managers, Fidelity, which is our fixed income manager, really nice result from them, up 4%. Cohen and Steers on the infrastructure side, also a nice result from them. And then the Fidelity REIT fund, once again, the REIT fund, a relative detractor, but still up positive 10% versus that 12.1% for the REIT index. And then as we look at the portfolio, overweights and underweights still continue to correspond with the ongoing onboarding of the private equity composite. We hired, or two managers were hired at the end of last year. Paperwork and onboarding has been finalized to the best of my knowledge, and we are looking at that capital that will eventually be called. But it will take a little while for this underweight to private equity to essentially correct itself, as this is an asset class that's not immediately investable, unlike, let's say, fixed income or equities, where you select a manager and after the paperwork is complete, within a matter of days, the allocation is fully funded. So overweights and underweights make perfect sense in light of the private equity composite being an area that's waiting to get funded. And then this dashboard here just gives us, again, a nice reminder of the actions taken in the portfolio. ultimately, where we've seen manager terminations, where we've seen managers get hired, where managers have been replaced, and so on. And then this snapshot here is just a quick reminder on the asset allocation. We did make some asset allocation changes when we came on board as the consultant, and those asset allocation changes, through the performance that we just went through, have definitely been, additive to the overall returns of the portfolio. Just as an example, by eliminating hedge funds in the old allocation, we've helped the upside return of the current portfolio. So again, asset allocation and those changes that we've made have definitely been additive to the portfolio. Now, with respect to the asset allocation changes, and this would be a question for both legal and Mr. Chairman, I know that we do have some pending discussions regarding managers. As we think about those discussions on managers, I really wanted to take direction on what the goal was for the remainder of this meeting once we've gone through the performance review. So let me pause for a moment and see if there's anything from either legal or the chairman's end with respect to searches and potentially looking at additional managers for review.
So we'll proceed
yeah.
as we previously have done, but also I wanted to note for the record that Moby McBull is in attendance, and we do have a quorum. But Quaco, we will proceed as we have it done in the past, and then Board Relations can send out availability to all of the committee members to see when we can do our next interviews.
Okay, great. So after I've gone through the review today, would the goal be to go through the search documents and walk through the candidates that could potentially be interviewed?
Yes.
Okay,
I
great.
have a question. Do we have potential uh, candidates who can uh, oversee the portfolio or allocation for technology? Because certainly we would like to see if somebody who is very diligent about investing in technology.
Yeah, so I would say the quick answer here is as we go through some of the searches and the search books, you will get a sense of how particular managers invest. Some managers really lean into technology as a sector. So as we think about our portfolio and how we invest, we have a diversified portfolio. Technology represents a portion of that diversified allocation. And as we go through, the search books, again, we can kind of call out the managers, which sectors they like to lean into. Technology is obviously a sector that's very relevant, continues to be more relevant to our daily lives. And you will see that some of the managers that we are putting forward today, some of them, again, do like to invest in technology. So that hopefully does answer the question there, where technology
Qu-
is one of the major
Quaco,
sectors.
Quaco,
Yes,
um,
yes.
I'd prefer to have a discussion with you after this meeting with regard to any questions regarding potential managers and not go through that discussion in this meeting.
So this is just the
Okay,
this is just the presentation, so just remember, there are no action items on this particular agenda. It's just presentation.
got it.
Yes. Thank you.
Got it. No problem. Okay, so this would essentially conclude, the overview as we think about the areas of the portfolio where we're still looking to incorporate, some potential management. We have, uh, you know, the domestic market, the international market, and then also a potential pairing up of our existing fixed income manager with another fixed income manager. That's on the traditional side of the equation. So let me pause here on this particular page, which also just points to, uh, you know, items completed with respect to manager selection. We had Mesero, we had Sango, where these managers were essentially selected at the end of last year. Global infrastructure and real estate, these are areas where we are essentially looking to schedule a meeting separate from the discussion that we'll have on the traditional asset classes, and then non-US small cap, emerging markets, US mid, US small, and core fixed income. These are the areas where we would look to address some search candidates through a review of the materials that you've received.
Okay.
Okay, so that would conclude Marquette's overview of performance. And from an agenda standpoint, just wanted to confirm what the next order would be, and I'll happily accommodate from there.
Any additional comments with regard to the asset allocation transition plan?
No comments with respect to the transition plan, other than we do have the search books and the search candidates to review at your pleasure, and that would be the next step of the conversation.
Okay. Any question from committee members?
I would like to ask you to please look into proposing any managers who can capitalize on the emerging market, just like, we all know NVIDIA, we would like to capture the opportunities like that. So please keep in mind, if you propose any managers who are very diligent in market trends.
Yeah, and I would say that the interview process will be a good opportunity to ask the managers at the table as well. So one of the things we'll be able to do in the review is, lay out how managers do invest and how their styles do correspond, differently or the same as the benchmark. And then the interviews will be a great opportunity to just kind of reinforce the pleasure of the trustees, what they would like to see in the portfolio. The good news is we have, and this is going to be, I think, a very tough decision. We have really good candidates to review, all blue chip organizations, really looking at strong return streams. So I think, we can have some good discussions at the table and also with the managers with respect to their investment styles and what makes the most sense.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kwaku. Any other
No problem.
questions on any of the presentation items? Okay, we appreciate it, Kwaku.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I had one quick question, Chairman. So let me just show this very quickly, just to make sure that I'm not missing anything as well. So these search books here that I'm flagging, I won't pull them up until I've been given the all clear, but just wanted to mention that we have, provided these search books to all of the trustees. And if today is the meeting where we would go through the search books before the interviews, the goal here would be to highlight some candidates for review.
So Quaco, it doesn't appear that that is on our agenda today.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
So unfortunately, it has to be on our agenda.
And there's also the meeting next week is on the calendar.
For
people,
Tuesday.
right?
Yeah, I haven't
Perfect.
received any search books, so maybe that's,
So, so
okay.
Quaco, it appears from the committee members that they have not received the search books. So let's table this for now and actually have the search books actually distributed to the pension committee members, because that's, then we can have a more constructive
next,
conversation next week. But
Perfect.
the committee members need to have the search books. So Tanya, can you make sure that the committee members have the search books, please? Okay, so Quaco, so we're
Yes.
going to end this discussion, and we'll make sure that the committee members have the search books, because many of them say that they do not, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, and just also wanted to bring up that Mr. Kenneth Davis is resigned his committee trustee position, and there's going to be a special election for that position. That is the reason why Mr. Davis is not here today, so just wanted to make you all aware of that. And Quaco, does that conclude your presentation?
That does conclude the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, again, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll make sure that all the committee members and the trustees will have the book, okay?
We have one information item for the committee to review. Any public comments?
Are there any public comments? No, Chair, there's no public comments.
One question, in regard to a new pension committee member, does Stephanie need to make some type of
She's-
announcement tomorrow at the board meeting, or?
She can, but Stephanie has already actually advertised that position, and we have one candidate, but she's already advertised the vacancy to the entire
Good.
employee community.
Good, okay.
So it's two candidates.
It's two candidates, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Two candidates, so
Two
we will
candidates.
have a full election.
Yes.
Okay.
When is the election?
It's gonna run concurrently with open enrollment, so that'll be October 15th through October 25th.
Okay.
And we'll run it just like we did the last one. We'll have election buddy for electronically, and then we'll have the ballot box on site. So we'll do
Good.
pension elections at the same time. We're doing open enrollment on site at the different locations.
Good, okay. Any other matters?
Nope.
If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Aye. I have to-
Second, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are now adjourned.